Hi, everybody. So, welcome back. I actually enjoyed this episode, I think, way better, but I felt like it was dragging. I don't know if it was me, but I really felt like the episode was dragging. But compared to last week, it was a way better episode. What did you think?
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. Yeah, it was definitely better, but I still just feel like they're just filling time. Like the slots and some of the conversations were still the same, and it's just like it was dragging on. But I mean, yeah, better compared to what we have seen. Um, and of course, it couldn't be an episode really without Marcel telling Tisha how wrong she is. So was here for it, you know. But
Honestly, he never fails to put her down. But yeah, so let's get into it. Um, So we're going to start off with where the episode. I have a problem with them doing cliffhangers. Like I've complained about this several times, and I feel like it just keeps happening. Them doing cliffhangers. If the cliffhanger is going to continue with the same conversation, nothing changing, we're just going to have the same repetitive thing. Because now she's still arguing with Nell. To be honest, I don't understand what was happening in this scene. I don't know why they are fighting. I was very confused because when she tried explaining her issue with Nell, she said she was mad that Nell called her a mentor instead of saying she's a friend, and that Nell was trying to clap back at fans by saying that, oh, they're not friends, that she's a mentor, that she didn't like that, so she felt very uncomfortable. And Nell was like, oh, why don't you address the haters? She's like, no, I don't address haters. I'm like, come on, girl, stop lying. I just don't know. Like, if that happened to me, I'm confused as to why that would make me angry enough to just want to fight with somebody. I don't think her reason for fighting with Nell made any sense. She just wanted to have something to hold as a backup. It had Her explanation made no sense whatsoever.
well, okay, so just take a look at this. You're sitting there and you're surrounded by people, and every last person that is sitting there has, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, said that if it was a regular day, they would not be your friend. There's something about you that is just not right, and I feel like Tisha wants friends. Of course, everybody wants to have friends. Some people, we just don't care, but she has to like friendship is her thing. Like she has to be um like she has to have the attention. Like we have seen that she has, honestly, she kind of has the mind of a younger child in a way, but she has to have the attention. You have to be her friend, you have to be her sister, you have to be around her, in her face, because if not, she's feeling some type of way. So her sitting there, she had the liquid courage to sit there around these women who have all said that in one way, shape, or fashion they're not her friend. they this isn't something that they wouldn't hang with her. Look at her attitude. And even with Latricia being there, met her at the gym and you're talking mad crap about all the other women, but yet when you are all surrounded and together, you're the one showing the feisty side. You're the one who's showing aggression and showing that you have a problem with everyone. It didn't make sense the fact that she was upset with Nell because she said, I'm her mentor, not her friend. It takes time to get to know someone. Not everyone is considered a friend off top. Like you have to show that you have friendship qualities. And it's been shown Tisha is not the one. No. Even Kimmy called her Latisha. Like she's
I think all this actually stems from her upbringing. It's almost like she had no friends growing up, and then she has to by force be friends with everybody. And if she's not friends with you, then you are enemy. She can't have a neutral ground with anybody. In Tisha's mind, either you are a friend or you are enemy. And I think that's a very, very horrible mentality to have, because because I don't understand how you will flip off when someone says that she's your mentor, because she has said this several times, and then for you to then hear it in an interview and then you're flipping. It just did not make any sense. And I think because of the whole liquid courage, it made it worse. Maybe she could have articulated herself better if she was not drunk. I'm just trying to give her the benefit of the doubt that she could have articulated herself better without the whole alcohol in her system, but she definitely did not come across looking good.
No, she came off honestly insecure. She came off uh, demanding and combative and very aggressive. And it just, there's a time and a place to do things. And it wasn't like it was just Nell that she went after. She had a vendetta with everyone there. And it's like, if this is what you came for, why come? Don't come to my party if you're coming to stir up some mess just because you got stuff on your chest that you need to get off. There's been how many months between the time that they filmed the reunion compared to that right there? You could have said something a long time ago. You could have come to the daycare where Nell works. You could have sent a text message and an email. You could have Instagram, any type of thing and communication you could have had before this day. Why wait till now? And then to have problems and issues with all the women there. Like, it just made no sense. And I feel like, and I agree, it's her upbringing. Because it was said that Wanda would kind of pit her against other people and make her feel like she was special and she was better than other people, even though she wasn't treated that way. And I mean, think about that. Your mom's telling you you're better than everyone else and you're special. But yet, in the real world, when you get out there, you realize that you're not. And the real world chews you up. So now you have conflicting emotions. So yeah, she's looking for friends, but she's expecting you to automatically be her friend. And it doesn't work like that.
At all. But yeah, that whole scene, as I said, it could have just been actually added to last week's episode. We didn't need to see the same thing because it's just the same thing. She was arguing with people we know for no reason, could not really give a specific reason why she was mad, and then apologizes and we're back. And one thing that made it funny was that she said Nell could not, she was saying Nell can't say things about her. Meanwhile, in the reunion, she called Stormy a drug addict. I don't understand how that works. Like, she's a bona fide hypocrite because you don't want things being said about you. You don't want people to say things about you. You don't want people to judge you. But meanwhile, you're calling someone a drug addict and you're like, oh, you're standing on it because people have been coming at you. It just actually did not. Tisha is one big hypocrite. So now,
Yeah, and if those cameras weren't there, she would not be talking all that mess. Because, like I said, there's been how
mm,
many months in between filming, and you haven't heard of her pulling up, going up to nobody. She hasn't, talked to Stormy, like none of that. So it's almost like you wait until the cameras are on and you have security and you possibly have backup so that you can go ahead and pop off. No, be about it and stand on it the whole time. If you're accusing somebody of something and you're going to defame their character, then you need to make sure you stand on that 10 toes through and through. Like, don't be there halftime and then, you don't have nothing to say. No. If Tisha and Stormy met outside and she had that same energy, do you really think that Tisha would be talking that mess? No. And then the part about her RSVPing for the party after you wanted to go back and forth with Stormy and pop off and clap your hands and get all ratchet, but then say that you RSVP'd for her party. Make that make sense.
and what actually annoyed me more to this was even Masao acting ignorant about what Stormy was saying. I may not like Stormy, but at least she's keeping it 100. They already squashed their issue prior to the reunion. That's why when we were watching the reunion, I was like, "Ah, what's going on?" I don't know where Kimi Tisha's annoyance was actually stemming from. Everybody was fine before the reunion, and then in the reunion, you wanted to be gangster Tisha. You were just coming at everybody like a bulldog. She did not give anybody space to speak. Until date, Tisha and Marsau cannot tell people why what went down when the reunion actually happened. And that just already shows the kind of character they have. And as Courtney said, there's no use actually talking to Marsau because he's going to say that Tisha was right, is going to find some reason to make it seem like Tisha was her feelings were valid in that period. You guys had an issue with somebody. Why didn't you discuss it with them? Why did you lash out? And then everybody is confused as to why all this is happening. It's just so crazy to me.
And we seen at the reunion that she listen. We said that she had to rehearse this before she came, and she pulled out paperwork. So I feel like she had rehearsed what she was going to say to everybody. And you know how Carlos just he's all about the Scots, and he's going to allow them to just say whatever and try to and keep them playing or in that whole victim lane. Because every time somebody came at Tisha, he would try to cut them off. But Tisha say whatever she want to say, he let it roll. So I feel also like it was all planned at the reunion. And yeah, for Marcel to act oblivious, he knows. But it's so hypocritical. You're right. Don't sit there and talk about how people talk about you when you're quick to talk about somebody else. Just from like the very beginning. You were the one who started talking about Melody's marriage and how you knew the girl and how you had proof that he had got her a car and all types of stuff he was talking. Mel wasn't saying nothing about you and your marriage, but then as soon as somebody does say something about it, oh, y'all talking about my marriage. Like, come on. Don't throw rocks and hide your hand. Don't do it.
Honestly. Because when when they got home, Marcel was very, very, very embarrassed. Honestly, I would actually feel some type of way that okay, they invited my wife and I or my husband and I to a party, especially a birthday party where everybody's coming to have fun, drink, dance, do whatever they want to do. And then my wife is acting a fool, fighting with the celebrant, and nobody can tell where our issue stems from. It was really like he had a lot to say. But let's talk about this particular scene. So Marcel has the whole fake scene of him walking in saying, "Oh, what do you want from me?" That scene was just so fake. I'm like, come on, you guys can just go straight into the dialogue. We don't need to see you walking into the house and then discussing then walking out. That just did not make sense to me. So he comes in and then Tisha complains as usual that she's so busy. She doesn't know how to juggle being a mother, have a business, and be a lovely wife. Masao is doing so fine being a deadbeat. That's all. So then she talks about the Kimmy's bid, saying that she's scared about this bid issue with Kimmy because she does not want them to get to the point where they were previously that she was like, oh, she would, if they were not sister-in-laws, she would not actually have any relationship with Tisha, as she does not like how Tisha behaves, that she does not want them to get to that stage, and that's why she's really scared about them bidding for Kimmy's work. And then they talked about their Black Expo. This time around, they ended up not showing it in this season. Maybe they saw how terrible it looked for the previous season, so they did not show it here. But apparently, they reached out to Melody, and Melody was busy and could not speak in that one. I do not. That was the one with that Microsoft actually sponsored, right? So I guess this one was way bigger. They implemented most of the ideas that Mel told them. And because Mel is actually very good at all this public speaking, that's one of our side hustles. So now he starts speaking about the whole comments that she made, and he said that the comment he made about Martell when he was arrested, he was like, oh, he made that comment because it seems like Mel and Martell doesn't know that every single time that they have an issue, it actually affects the other cast. And I'm like, that's because you guys never seem to mind your business because I would actually keep quiet. I was very shocked for him to say from his mouth that people were thinking that he was the one arrested because I was like, from where to where? I did not see one publication make that mistake. I did not see any news station make that mistake. So it was very weird to me that he said some people or publications and media thought that he was the one that was actually arrested. Then he said, then Tisha starts complaining about the fact that people are always saying things about her, that she decided to fight back, and that she has noticed that everybody that said things about them, they've ended up badly. Marsau starts saying, oh yes, just look at Mel and Martell, they ended up divorcing. Louis and Tiffany, they are going through a lot. They then mentioned Stormy and Courtney, and was like, this part made me feel like Marsau was an hypocrite, because was a hypocrite. It was like, oh, but anytime you're going to the gutter, you don't need to follow them, Tisha, because when you go there, you become weird. You are very bad at being accountable. Every time people try to hold you accountable, your default behavior is defensive, and that he does not like that. I was very confused, because how wouldn't she be defensive? Two of them were actually hypocrites in this thing, because here you are, Masao, saying bullshit about your so-called friends, saying that every time they have something to say about you, they fail, and then you are bashing your wife for also doing the same thing. I don't know, they just seem really crazy to me. Because you're mad at Tisha for being defensive. Yes, we know that Tisha can be very childish. And I get that people have been dragging Tisha for this particular scene. But it was not lost on me that Masao was actually scolding Tisha for the same thing he does. He's obviously childish. You were saying that, oh, people who say things about you are failing. You talked about you had to speak, even though you did not need to give any speech about the whole Martell situation because it affected you. You are saying bad things about your so-called friend or cast members, and then you are mad at Tisha. At least Tisha is saying it in their presence. So I really do not understand who is worse here, because you're sounding like a hypocrite to me.
Yeah, I just find it weird that he talks about accountability, but it's like, where's yours? And then, like, it's also crazy how they're talking about, like, everybody else is in the gutter and then nobody's doing better than them. And it's like, I'm calling BS on that. And also, what really is getting me, especially about like the whole Stormy and Tisha situation, is the fact that Tisha, you're the one who stole her whole shipping label. You stole her. We seen on the episode them covering up what looked like her bottles with your stickers. So it's like, girl, take some accountability for that. Like, I understand, like, and she has taken none, but Marcel hasn't either, because I feel like he's a big part of it too. Like, he's also the battery that's in Tisha's back that has her feeling like she can get rowdy, or you know what I'm saying. If he says we don't like him, then we don't like him. Because even if she says she doesn't like somebody, he likes them, it doesn't matter. But yeah, for him to talk about getting down in the gutters, like, how many times have you responded to shit that has nothing to do with you? And where would they get y'all mixed up? Why? Because you are all bald? Still, nobody said anything about Marceau. Everybody knows who Marceau Scott is. Martell Holt is different than Marceau Scott. Yeah, y'all all have M's and you're bald and black. Like, what else? What else is there? Like, it's the delusions for me. I'm sorry. And it's the excuses, because I feel like that was just an excuse for him to say, well, I had to clear my name. No, you didn't, because as you said, I didn't see any tabloids. I didn't see any content creators or anyone who covered this make any mix up at all. Not once did I see his name mentioned, except for the fact of him responding to it saying free Martell. So, and like, I think it kind of all comes out to in the end with the conversation that he had with Mel, because right there, he's clearly lying. We know this. And in the end, it comes out. So, yeah. But did we expect him to take up for Tisha in this scene? I didn't. Anytime he can
But
make sure
actually,
that.
I feel like it
Mhm.
makes no sense. Yes, I understand that he always has to call. I understand that he always has to call out Tisha and everything. Why does it seem like he's always attacking her for the same thing that he does? It's just so strange to me that he's always attacking Tisha every single time, and he's doing the same thing. Yes, she's childish. Yes, what she did in that place. You could have actually just called her out for how she behaved in the party and said you don't like the fact that even when you're trying to correct her, she's being all childish about it. I would have understood. But I will be so pained if someone like Marsau is calling me out when he's doing the same thing. That's just me. I will be so pained because you are actually bashing the same people, but the only beautiful thing about yours is that you are doing it in private. But as people say, maybe it's the approach that does matter. Doing it in private, not causing a scene in public, and everybody is like, oh, why is this person crazy? Why is this person shouting? Why is this person mad about this? I understand where he's coming from about Tisha's behavior because every single time they go to a party, I've noticed that most of the times Tisha wants to have an issue or she always has an issue with somebody and she ends up ruining the party. I just realized that from last for the past 2 seasons, she has always caused one issue in every single party, and I'm just like, wow, I didn't even really realize that.
You know what? That is so true. And we talked about this too. Marcel is not. I don't. This is just my opinion. You know, it's my view. You don't have to agree. But I don't feel like Marceau is really attracted to Tisha like that. That's why he's always complimenting every other woman, but he doesn't really too much compliment Tisha. Like I haven't really heard him do that much. Just like even at the party, he complimented Stormy, talking about I like the blonde, and she starts doing this little fake giggle, and Courtney was like, "Hey, keep your eyes off my woman, or keep your eyes on your own woman, or something like that." Like Marceau, he really doesn't care how he talks to Tisha because that's not really he. How do I put this? Even though she's his wife, she's kind of beneath him in ways. So he just really doesn't see her as an equal partner. That's why even when she was going and getting her degree, he was like, "Oh, I thought you was just gonna put it up on the wall. I didn't think it was real." Like, so I don't know. Marceau is definitely a hypocrite because why try to call her out on things that you do and actually do worse? Um, but yeah, I feel like it's just because he doesn't too much care about how he treats Tisha or like because one he knows she'll stay. She's not gonna fight and argue with him like that, and he can get away with whatever because she's not gonna question it.
Yeah. And funny thing that every time they argue like this, she's still the one that will go and beg and apologize and say how sorry she is every single time. It's such a sad marriage, if you ask me.
Definitely is.
But yeah, let's move on. So yes, Tommy had should I call it a brunch, lunch? I don't know what they had with Mel where she started talking about the situation. I felt this thing could have been a phone call. That's just me. But then she informs Mel about the whole Mattel being a model in her friends, lovers and friends gathering, and that Mattel is going to be a model in it, and that she just wanted to inform Mel about it. And the Mel is like, Mattel is coming, she's not going to come at all. I actually like the fact that Stormy did not blindside her because they're trying to do this avoidance thing where if Mattel is here, she's not there. If Mel is there, Mattel is not there. But what I found funny was that I was actually like was live watching it when people were like, oh, Mel should have gotten to a stage where she should actually be comfortable enough being in the same room with Martell, that she's bitter, she's having that she's very bitter about this whole Martell situation, that it's been a long time, that she should be able to move on without having any issues again, and then they should be able to shoot scenes and all that. And then she's like, I was very confused because I don't know. I've started understanding people that when you are a public figure, or when you don't even need to be a public figure, when you are known. Oh, that's what it means to be a public figure. When you are a public figure and people do not know how to sympathize, not even how to empathize or understand where you are coming from, they feel like, oh, you should act a certain way. And when they are in that particular position, they would not act that certain, because I can bet you, if half of the people that keep saying that, oh, Mel should be able to film with Martell were in her shoes, none of them will actually film with Martell,
Absolutely
because I don't
not.
know what they want. If she films with Martell, they're like, oh, she's in Martell for a storyline. If she does not film with Martell, oh, she's bitter. So what exactly do you want her to do? Because she does not want to have a fight. Every single time they're in the same room, it ends in a screaming match. So now she's trying to reduce it, but now you people are saying that she's bitter. I don't understand. I don't understand exactly
Yeah,
what
I
people
don't
want from
understand
her,
that
but
either. And you're so right. If this was some, like, if they were in her shoes and going through the same things that she's going through, and there's a lot of women who have gone through the same thing. She's not the first or the only one, and they have had to go to extreme measures, possibly even doing, like, restraining orders, and listen here, we have people who drop the kids off where we don't see each other at all. Like, people do that because sometimes marriages and divorces become nasty. And when you have an ex-husband like Martell, you have to make sure that you're safe, and definitely make sure your peace is secure at all times, because he is the type of person that comes to destroy and just cause confusion and chaos. Anytime he can pull up to this woman after not only him being the reason for the divorce because he wanted to cheat and have outside children in the marriage, and treat his wife like she's just basically a cash cow in a way. um and then you, after you have ruined the marriage, you pull up on this woman as she's trying to go out on a date.
that time was a
You
bastard.
listen, he has, like, come on, this man has done so many things to her. Why in the world would people expect for her to want to be around this man? That just makes no sense. No. And you can't tell this woman that she needs to get over it or move on, or that she's bitter just because she's protecting her peace and she's protecting her children. It's not like she's being, I can understand y'all saying she's being bitter if she keeps the children from him and she's not letting him see them, and she's the one who's dragging him in and out of court, but it's the other way around. I mean, the kids are, taken care of, but most of the time she has them because there's times where he can't get them, and we know this. But it's like, I'm glad that they aren't blindsiding her and they're not trying to just put her in the room with him just because it's good for filming, and it's good for the scene that they're shooting at that time, like that. No, they need to continue to respect the boundaries that she's setting. And if they can't, honestly, at that point, if I was Mel, what I would do is leave. You don't, I mean, I'm not going to give in to the security of me just to film with a person who does nothing but causes, confusion. No. And even though her and Stormy might not have been, like, on the best of terms, in past seasons, it's good to see that Stormy at least has enough respect to say, hey, I'm gonna sit you down and have a conversation and let you know, like, hey, this is what's
Yeah,
gonna happen.
To be honest, I'm actually happy that all the ladies are talking with each other because last season was just so. It felt like everybody was bitter. Everybody was just angry, especially the women, and then the men were now using that as an excuse to come in between them for that. So it was like, and people just. So I was very happy when they made that whole part that, oh, if you have an issue with me, you come to me, you speak to me, and then have issues.
Yeah, it's definitely good that they're able to, grow up and kind of like, hey, let's talk it out. And I'm listen. We know the shit that Stormy has done, but I'm going to say kudos to her because even with the stuff that happened at the reunion, for her to still invite everyone and say, hey, we still just want everyone there. I mean, of course, it could just be for filming. Why not? Like, you have to invite everybody just because we're going to be shooting. So, I mean, that's fine, but still, I feel like the reach out and the ladies talking and being able to express themselves and then not be, everybody being catty or,
Yeah,
throwing
because
shots.
Marsau
Like,
was really
that's
taking
cool.
advantage of that. Marsau was taking
Yes.
serious advantage of their issues. He would all gosh, I don't like that man because he's always hiding his hatred or annoying his annoying behavior under the whole sarcasm. Oh, I didn't mean it. I was just joking kind of vibe. So I'm happy that now the women actually talk about it because now the men cannot use that against them. So yeah, it was actually a smart view that they made, and I'm happy for them. But now, Martell, the one who claims to be not bitter, met with Fletcher and Courtney, where he started bitching again about the whole not being invited to the birthday party. I feel like this girl she gave the courtesy of having a whole lunch with you to explain why she's not inviting you. And despite her explaining, you are still having an issue with it. Imagine if Martell had come, we wouldn't have had only Tisha causing the whole issue. Would have had both Mel and Martell fighting there again. So, do you want this woman to enjoy her party or do you want to ruin it? Because now you're like, oh, they're picking sides. Courtney, can you see that Fletcher is picking sides? I hate when people that you know Martell is suffering from the fact that he does not understand that his actions, these are the repercussions for his actions. So now that he's facing the repercussions, he actually cannot stand it. So he feels like, oh, they shouldn't have invited both of them, or they should have invited him and not Melody. So for me, this man he's sick.
Is sick even a good enough word? Like, delusional, just I don't understand. And then he made it like, oh, she's choosing sides because she did this. Listen, that's going to happen. Not everybody is going to want to be around you and put up with your antics and the bullshit that you do. Nor is everybody going to put up with what you're doing to your wife or ex-wife. Because this woman's trying to move on and you are still like you're steady trying to hassle her. Like, this it's not over. Like, I don't feel like he's stable enough to really leave her alone to where she can actually move on with her life. We seen what he did when she met
He's
with the guy that she
bitter.
carousel.
He wants the thing is that Mattel wants everybody around them to pick him before Mel. I have no problem with you
Yeah.
wanting to be picked, honestly, because everybody wants to be picked. But the fact that he's being vindictive, the fact that he's being vindictive about this whole issue and he's doing it on purpose because you keep mentioning it, even though he said, oh, he followed his wife's direction, he did not want to come against his wife, he just said what he wanted to. He agreed with what she wanted because it was a birthday party, and he just kept bringing it up over and over and over again. It was just so. weird because okay, what do you want him to do? Go back to the past and be like, oh darling, make sure Martell comes. Oh, like okay, look at this whole Stormy issue. Mel found out that you were going and she said, oh, I'm not going. Was it not just easy?
Yeah, and see, he's gonna be happy and smiling because he feels like Stormy chose him. But what he doesn't know is that Stormy actually wanted Mel to come as well, but Mel chose not to come. So I feel like that's going to be the next thing is he's going to feel like he knows who's choosing sides, and he's going to start, I feel like, pushing people who he feel like is choosing him. He's going to push them further and further to, go against Mel. Which, if these ladies, especially the ladies, if y'all are smart and y'all have seen what going against Mel does, you should be smart and not do it. Just because one thing is, and we've said this out of everybody on the show, she's honestly the truest boss on there. Like, no lawsuits. Everyone else has lawsuits. Well, besides Fletcher's. But y'all got lawsuits. Your products aren't selling right. You got problems with shipping. Like, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot going on. But yet, I feel like with the relationship that they're trying to rebuild, like the ladies, um, I think it's going to be harder this time around for Martell to try to pierce that. Except for with Tisha, I just feel like she's gullible, and yeah,
Yeah, I just think he's too bitter. He's really too bitter. Now, for the love of me, I really want to ask, must we see this new girl every episode? It's a very harmless question. I just really want to ask because at this
to
point,
talk about the
like
same
her
thing.
voice, her voice grates my nerves. It's she. Oh God. And I don't know if I was the only one that noticed, but it felt like this scene, this is the most I've seen her talk in the entire. She was so giddy to talk to Matthew. I'm not saying that there was anything between them, but it almost gave like, oh, this is my high school crush kind of vibes. She was so giddy to talk about her situationship. And what really caught me in this situationship talk is the fact that she said it's in the plans in the future to get divorced. Man, Ken needs to run for his life. He needs to run. And then the way Martell was subtly dropping all these unnecessary hints to make it seem like Chris was interested in her, saying, oh, Chris almost introduced Trisha to him. And then that was where it ended. And then him then saying, oh, if you had known Marsau, he would have gotten you. I'm like, come on. It's so unnecessary. And when she was talking about the whole Mel grilling her about her situation, because honestly, if someone had told me her story, I would really want to find out more. It's an honest reaction. And then Mattel bringing the whole, well, did you know that Mel had a side chick? It was the same thing. We were still married, separated, and she had a man. So yeah, like, dude,
And
nobody
he's
cares.
still
Move
trying
on.
to
Okay, she
perpetrate
cheated.
this
What do you
whole
want us
thing.
to do? Oh, my point is, okay, she cheated back. What do you want us to do? Cry?
No, he would have said something. If she cheated on him in the very beginning, he would have said something. And we all know that what he is talking about when it comes to her cheating and all that is the revenge P. And you're still trying to float this narrative that it was her with another man. No, it was her with you. You guys made a video inside of y'all's marriage, and you're trying to switch the narrative and make it like it was someone else. That shows just how delusional and disgusting he is. You're still trying to make like, oh, it was your ex-wife, she did wrong, it wasn't you, you didn't do nothing, like what you did was nothing, but what she did, oh no, it was inside the marriage and da. No, it wasn't. Stop it. And yeah, that was kind of cringe with the whole, yeah, oh well, if you would have went to there, Marcel would have got you, Marcel would have got you. And then you talk about how Fletcher was going to introduce them to, like, Martell. I'm sure he slid in her DM and was talking, like, I, I don't know. It just seemed like they was doing more talking than working out. But that's just me.
Honestly, that whole scene, I don't think they did more than three workouts. They had more to gist about, and then him bitching about the whole "I don't work with out women" kind of thing throughout. I don't think they really did anything for his body. Plus, it does not look out of shape. They just wanted something to a scene to bring them together. So please, they need to leave us with that. So Mel decided to have a meeting with Martell to discuss the whole someone reached out to me and I had to speak. Then he showed his from his um mouth. He said that all the news were mixing he and Martell together, saying that it was Marcel Scott that got arrested, although he knows that what he said made no sense. And then a reporter reached out to him, and then he gave his own point of view, and this is what he said. He said, I've heard the unfortunate news, and my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved in this terrible situation. For real, though, free Martell. And the reporter asked, is this on record? Like, I can quote you? And he said, yes. Now, this is crazy to me because you claimed you didn't have the full information. You claimed you did not understand, but you're saying free Martell. How does that make sense?
So where in that does that show that they thought it was you? If you are texting them and saying, I've heard the unfortunate news. My thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved in the terrible situation. For real though, free Martell. And then the person even asks, is this on the record? Like I can quote you and you say, yep. How is that you thinking or them coming to you as if it was about you? This is why I said the lie that they said in the beginning when it was him and Tisha, like this is how it falls apart for the simple fact of we know that it looks like you reached out to them because if we're looking at the top, it looks like you were the first message. Like, I just don't understand why he thinks that it is okay to say stuff like that and then act like, well, I only said it to clear me. That's a lie. You're not taking accountability. Same thing you said Tisha doesn't do, you're not doing right now. And where, instead of actually reaching out, I guess, to the person, why would you not feel like, hey, I'm not going to say anything? Because just like Nell said, when people come to her about him and Tisha, she says nothing because it's none of her business. At what point do you understand and say, no, this isn't any of my business? I'm not going to get involved in this. This is why Marshall gets called a bitch. Now, I'm not saying it, but this is what they've said. Okay. But this is why. Why would you do something like that? This man is being charged with revenge P on his ex wife, something that can harm not only her, but their children. And you are not even thinking about that? Probably because you don't really think too much of your own wife and children. So, I mean, it's I just find it disgusting. That just pissed me off.
Honestly, it's just so crazy to me, though. If you ask me, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's not showing that my voice is actually. So it's just so crazy to me because I felt like if it was their drama and then someone actually went ahead and spoke to the media, they wouldn't be taking this like so positively or even having conversations. The Masao I know, he would have gone live, dropping shades. He would have been so blatant with the whole hatred thing because he would be saying things that makes no sense just to shade the person. But the fact that you do not understand that what you did was wrong, I don't even think anybody should even be saying anything. He does not understand what he did is wrong, or no, he understands that what he did or said was wrong. He just doesn't care because it's not him, and I think that's the best way I can put it. He knows that what he said can harm somebody, but he just doesn't care.
Yeah, agreed with that.
But yeah, it
And the
was
reason why he
actually
doesn't is
not.
because he knows it's not about him.
Yeah, he knows that it's not about him. Because if we, the Masao I know, he will be dropping pictures, go live, make those his dead ass boring jokes, talking about, oh, you see what's there. It's just, I don't like him. He covers his bad behavior with sarcasm, and then he has the audacity to actually say Tisha is very unrepentant, Tisha is very defensive. I don't think it's any better if you ask me. But yeah, I think that's actually not a bad episode. We'll see you guys next week. I think we've covered majority or all parts.
Yeah. See you guys next time.
Okay.